Good old-fashioned recording, commute talk. A Monday morning recording on the way into work. A bit of a crazy morning and really kind of a crazy 24 hours. It was very up down. But yeah, really dialed into Oliver Burkeman right now. His Meditations for Mortals books, his principles, listening to him on a couple podcasts, Dan Harris and Rich Roll, kind of halfway through each of those, and just really can't get enough of that. I feel like that's just what I need, and I go through these phases. I think the self-awareness continues to build that each time I feel like I have found the silver bullet to managing life or my overwhelm or just my life obligations, my anxiety, whatever I might be going through, whenever I feel like I've found the silver bullet, or the key to getting through it all, or once I implement the system or do this thing or whatever, then then I'll have it figured out. Whenever I feel like that, it comes and goes. I'll be convinced when I find something that I'm often convinced that's it. Like I found it. Like I'm good. This is what I've been looking for. This is working great right now. It might be 2-3 days into a new perspective or a new lifestyle approach. What have you, but a couple weeks later, maybe a month later, I'll just kind of be back to my default, back to whatever habits or default ways that I had. It doesn't mean that I'm not carrying some things with me and I haven't, improved my life approach or my existence a little bit. Like, sure, I'm always at least subtly, slowly upgrading my outlook on life overall. Ups and downs, but when we talk about baseline, the stock overall over time, it's rising, and I gotta trust that even on the down days. The down days like yesterday afternoon, and even this morning when I had a rough night of sleep, and had a lot of negative thoughts this morning. And I've had enough experience with this kind of phasic. I'm very phasic in that way. I jump from author to author, book to book. I'll really be all in on something. Can't get enough for 2 to 4 weeks, roughly. 2 to 6 weeks, maybe, anywhere in there. And it's just a phase, and then I'm on to the next thing. And maybe the answer to that is that, that's okay. Maybe the issue is that over time I've felt like that's not okay. Like that I don't stick with something long enough. Or I'm too, distractible. Like I'm too unstable because I just keep jumping from thing to thing, And maybe that's okay. Maybe just embracing that that's my nature. Embracing that there are things that are very human about that. When we're going through some things and going through a reality that we want to be different in some way, isn't it only human or natural to continue searching for the solution to that? Like, that's human, and I need to, embrace that. Even in times where I quote-unquote know better, or I know that, well, the answer's not going to be in this approach, but I'll do it anyway because it feels better right now. Like, that's human as well. Doing things that we know are wrong or are not the answer, that's human. And as long as we can do our best to center and reel ourselves back in and collect ourselves and hit refresh every so often when we need to, that, like, that's fine. You know, I need to accept that going into, like, a new passion or a new interest or even a new, like, creative project. That, look, this might be just a brief blip of inspiration, or I might only be into this for a moment, you know, and that's okay. That's okay. Like, that's fine. Like, just living with that. Living with the idea that there is something entirely different that'll be doing it for me a few weeks from now, when I'm in a different moment in life. You know? While on a big scale, life might be largely the same, on a minor scale, you know, life could be completely different in 3 weeks. And there may be something else that is better suited to serve me at that time. Like, looking at these moments, like, for example, for me, reading a book, getting a third of the way through maybe, and then switching to another book because I'm excited about it, or because I heard about it, or I listened to a podcast and it got me excited to check it out. I used to guilt myself for that. Like, man, you don't finish anything. Same thing with, like, my music and the amount of unfinished songs and demos I have over the years. Even though, yeah, I would like to, you know, work on the ability to finish the things that I start and stick more focused on one thing at a time, accepting that and embracing that, like, the hopping around sometimes might just be what I need to cope, and the thing that I find might be something that I actually do need more than the thing that I started before. Just accepting that, like, letting life happen in that way, and being open to, like, what's next, and being open to the possibility of not seeing something through, not letting all those unfinished things in life collect, not letting those open loops dominate my life. I mean, as some of you may know, you know, based on the podcast I released back in January, when I interviewed one of my favorite authors, David Allen, who, you know, created the Getting Things Done methodology that I've been implementing in my life for at least 8 years now. There are a lot of different apps and ways to sort of implement that methodology, and I've hopped around that stuff nonstop for 8 years, you know? I mean, not nonstop, but, like, you know, over time I've tried a lot of different things, and I'm always like, when I hop onto the next thing, I'm like, oh, this is the way, you know, this is the way. And then I have this, like, underlying hope that it's the answer and that it's the one. And once I've found the one, then I'm good. Then I'm on cruise control. I've found the answer to you know, managing all this. But again, like, several weeks later, it's, like, not working, and I need to shift back to what I was doing or try something new. And just, like, being okay with that. Being okay with the way that I'm living life right now might not be the precise way that I'm living life a month from now. And that I should be open to that. Like, being open to change, you know, and letting go of all the burden or the weight of, like, responsibilities or tasks or ideas that have just piled up into what has felt like a to-do list that really has never needed to be a to-do list. It's a menu. All the ideas we have, the things we write down that we need to do, that a lot of times are just things we want to do. It's not a true need a lot of the time. It's a menu, you know, and you can always have a menu of things you need to do. But just like embracing that I can just start from square one at any moment, and I can, you know, that's one of the big ideas with the Oliver Burkeman stuff that I'm reading right now, is that it's liberating. It's liberating to recognize that you'll never be on top of things. You'll never get it all done. Like, that day is not coming. So, and that's hard. That's hard for especially like, a predominantly type A, productivity-minded, efficiency-minded person. There's been a lot of transformation happening for me in regards to like letting go and making room and making space in my life for what matters more, like letting go of like physical things and even like psychological things and mental just tasks and responsibilities, letting go of a lot of that in a minimalist way to sort of pare all that down, to strip it down to the essentials of the things that are most important to me. And I've had a lot of success with that. I mean, that was the big phase for me. It still is. I mean, something that is part of how I'm living right now, but really was a strong phase for me for about a month and a half recently, to where I've made a lot of extra space and time for things that matter most, but I've realized that doesn't mean that then life becomes all good. You know what I mean? So, switch over here. Almost missed my exit. I've gotten into the rhythm. Look at that. Last minute. Thank you, Lord. How about that? And not, just realizing that, like, man, even though I did all that work and that part of me was like feeling like, oh, life's going to be like grand once I've got all this space. Life's going to be great. There's some tough things going on in my life personally, to where all this stuff has done is just really given me more space to deal with the crappy stuff. And it's, in some ways, it's made a lot of the crappy stuff more apparent. Like, now that's like, oh, this is the stuff that's been really on my mind, like really on my mind and on my heart. Like, this is the stuff that's really had my attention all this time. It's just been, I've been sort of subconsciously distracting myself with extra things, extra obligations or pursuits. That's like, really, actually, this is kind of some of the stuff that you just need to address for your own sake, your personal goals, your well-being, and all that stuff. And it's like, well, dang, that's not how I would want all my extra space to be used. We would want all our extra space to be used just living, in a purely fun, hang out with friends, do creative things, go to all the events, travel. You know what I mean? Like, that it's all fine and dandy like that. And sometimes that's just not life. And like, that's okay as well. Like, embracing that there will always be problems. There's never always going to be a point where problem solved, you beat the game. Now it's cruise control for life from here on out. That's not coming. That's not it. That's not what life's about. It's like life, recognizing that we are finite beings, that we are mere mortals with a limited time on this earth, is just all the more reason to accept now, right now, that you aren't ever gonna do all the things that you want to do. Especially if you're an ambitious person, because that's the thing. Once you do something, you accomplish, you achieve a goal. I mean, you achievers out there know, as soon as you achieve a goal, it's like, what's next? And you keep going, and like, that's what it's about. Nothing wrong with that. Like, but that's what it's about. It's not about just beating the game and chilling. Not a full quality life anyway. Like a life of, especially if you're seeking a life of impact and stuff like that, So, anyway. On a day where I feel tired and not looking forward to work and yada yada, and I have a bunch of things to do, or that I could do, but I don't have the amount of energy that I would want, and won't get to it all. How about I just accept that out the gate? start at zero, start with a clean slate, and be like, you know what? I can pick something to do, even if it's not the best choice, not necessarily, oh, this is exactly how I should be spending my time. How about I just pick something and I get it done, and I write it on a list just so I can check it off a list. And I give myself a win of like, I applied myself in some way today that was meaningful or mattered or made a difference in some way. You know, I helped somebody else. I served the kingdom in some way or another. You know, I talked to God for 2 minutes. That's just as good of a task completed as any, you know. So, as I wrap up here, I started talking, not really having the idea that it might be posted or anything like that, but, you know, that's another thing. Starting from an imperfect place. That's another thing that I could probably riff on for a whole episode, is like not waiting till things are perfect or waiting until conditions are perfect to like take action on something. This return to podcasting or whatever. Like, if this is, you know, if I'm wanting to return to podcasting, it doesn't need to be some big built up thing. It doesn't have to even be a return. It can just be like, I had some stuff on my mind and on my heart. I wanted to record it. I wanted to share it. I wanted to help people with it. I wanted to make a difference with it. Did I feel my best? No. Was I in my best mood going into it? No. Do I need to optimize every single thing in my life before I do it? I used to think so. But no. Because this right here, this little, you know, snippet or nugget that hopefully makes a difference for you in one way or another, it wouldn't have happened at all if I overthought. So, accepting that some of the best things in life are meant to happen from a place of uncertainty, and that's just how it goes. That's just life. Conditions are never going to be perfect. You know, conditions might be really good sometimes, and that's a nice break sometimes. Nothing wrong with like taking advantage of good conditions, right? Like, just you draw a good hand, and so then, all right, let's run with it. Let's see what we can do. You know, like let's see. It's like getting out of it what you can. You know, I've got a passion right now for all this stuff. It's inspiration that might fade, but how about while I have it, I just run with it. I get something onto a recorder like this, so that maybe it can make a difference for someone else, and maybe it can serve somebody else. It's not really about me. You know, this isn't about me. It's just sharing, venting, hopefully serving, and impacting. So, anyway, if you've got something out of this, let me know. I mean, that's the kind of fuel that really keeps me going a lot of times with this, is when I can know that I'm making a difference. I'm not trying to make this a career. I'm not trying to make money. If any of that stuff ever happens with my creative ambitions, cool. But that's not the only measure of my success. If that's what my success or happiness is dependent upon, and all my eggs are in that basket, well, I'm setting myself up to be unfulfilled and unsatisfied when it doesn't work out. How about I just serve piece by piece, and allow the quick wins to happen the way they want to happen, and let them stack up how they will. So anyway, hope y'all have a good week, or hope it's been a good week whenever this drops. I don't know, but and it's been a minute. And how about you embrace the imperfect? You might not be at your best, but you can do something. You can be there for someone. You know, you can make a difference. So, all right, I'm out. Peace.